sallallahu alaihi wasallam as his official sermon in Medina after his emigration. Allow your hearts to become soft and kind and become peace-loving. And fifth teaching which he gave in his speech was always fulfill the promises, commitments and treaties. Never break your promises. And sixth teaching and the last teaching of his sermon was that love one another. Instead of hatred, develop love and peace in your hearts and behavior. He says, instead of hatred, al-bughda, develop love and peace in your heart. So again, third time in his message, he was emphasizing on love and peace to his people. Just imagine, then after coming to Medina, first step which he took practically in his life, he didn't enforce the laws of punishment. The very first year of his immigration, even he didn't enforce the religious laws of worship, the laws of salat and zakat and Saum and hajj, the basic 5 pillars of Islam. They were not enforced in the first year of his immigration. They were deferred. The punishments of Islam were not enforced in the beginning of his immigration. They were deferred. Many other teachings related to domestic life, related to matrimonial life, related to other social life was deferred for some years. The first step which Holy Prophet ﷺ took practically was the social pact of brotherhood. Social pact of brotherhood, which is known as Al-Muakhat. And this is very famous act. No need to explain. Where the immigrants and the people of Medina, the Ansar, the residents of Medina and the immigrants, they were made brothers. And he propagated the concept of sharing. Share with each other your wealth, your properties, your houses, your business, your money, your everything, your comfort. Concept of sharing. And assist one another. And those who are the immigrants, whatever they know about the business, they should teach Ansar. And Ansar should accommodate them in agriculture. So this, he established a atmosphere of mutual cooperation, mutual assistance, a social stability, and a brotherhood. So he gave a message through this act that he wanted a society of human beings based on the concept of love, peace, sharing, brotherhood, and mutual assistance and cooperation. This was the crux of the teachings of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this act of the Holy Prophet established the socio-economic stability for the Muslim Ummah. Then he preached them through his practice that you should adopt an accommodating behavior, an openness in your mind, kindness in your conduct. These steps were taken in the first year of Holy Prophet, and after that Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the same year he took the second step, and that was a political alliance with the Jews, Christians and other non-Muslim tribes. A political alliance was established which finally became the basis of Islamic State. And through this political alliance with Jews and their allied non-Muslim tribes, he wrote down a document which became the first written constitution of the world. First written constitution of the world. Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this credit goes to Holy Prophet, is Prophet of Islam. That first written constitution was given by Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to the mankind. At this point, I would like to mention a bit about the history of the development, Western history of the development of Constitution, so that we may understand the significance of the Constitution given by Prophet Muhammad and Islam 1400 years before. You know, in Britain, the constitutional history started in 1100. From the Charter of Liberties, and then King John I, he signed Magna Carta in 1215, which became the first constitutional document of British history, of Britain. And the habeas corpus was the main chapter, main article, main portion of that particular document. Through this, Britain became a constitutional monarchy. 474 years after that, the Bill of Rights was prepared. It was in 1689, and in 1700 the Act of Settlement, and then in 1911 the Parliament Act was passed. This was how the constitutional history of Britain developed, and they reached up to the level of constitution, not written but unwritten constitution. Now I would briefly mention the constitutional history of USA. In 1787, the America declared its separation from Britain. Thomas Jefferson, in July 1776, he gives the Declaration of Independence. He wrote the Declaration of Independence. Then Constitutional Convention takes place in 1780, which is followed by Philadelphia Convention of 1787. Then the great compromise of American history takes place in constitutional history. And on 17th of September 1787, a constitutional convention finally approved a concept of constitution for USA. In 1865, through 13th Amendment, slavery still existed, and 13th and 14th Amendment, they approved the human rights as a part of the American Constitution. 1868, this was 13th and 14th Amendment of Constitution. Then 1920, just less than 100 years, in the last century, there was 19th Amendment, which removed the gender discrimination from the Constitution, and a woman was also granted a right to vote. In 1920, less than 100 years, American Constitution approved the case of removal of gender discrimination, and a woman was granted to the right to vote. This is the American constitutional history.